All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA live stream. Have you guys covered here with the weekend Saturday slate. An interesting slate just in general, not too much elite value, but also a decent amount of value that's popping up. And I think it's actually a good starting point with that, with one of the questions that we just got here. So I'll let you answer this question if you or start with it. So thoughts on Marshall and being underexposed on Clint Capella. And I think that's a good starting point because Clint Capella actually projects as one of the better values on this slate.
Yeah, Najee Marshall, I think, is a pretty good play if you want to assume that PJ Washington gets ruled out again, which I'm kind of going under that assumption. I have Najee bumped a little bit, but I would have him a little more bumped if that was confirmed. But I'm still getting over the field on Najee. Good price. And then Clint Capella, to me, he's kind of just unavoidable. I think he's a good play. The model has him as a top DK value by a ton. So I do think he's a good play.
Should we get into that? Just we'll talk about this as we get into the game by game breakdown. Let's just talk about kind of why that is as well. So for Houston here, guys, Houston is pretty thin. Sengun is out, Steven Adams is out, and so is it just Clint Capella, or are we going to be looking at some of these other bigs as well? Jabari, potentially Thompson, and then obviously Kevin Durant.
Yeah, we kind of seen them do it last year where they had Jabari, or even well, they didn't have KD, but they had Jabari running the five. KD's ran the five in his career though, so it's possible. With AD in, it makes me feel better about Capella. That's one thing I'll say, but still, I think Jabari would be fine in that matchup. They've also been known to throw like Jeff Green in at small ball five, which is
Yeah,
definitely a possibility too.
yeah.
And then they have Jayshawn Tate, which has been playing better lately. He could also play the five. He'd be pretty small, but he would be someone that benefits if they did go that direction.
And what's interesting here as well is like we have Capella projected for let's say 23 minutes. When AD's off the court for Dallas, like Dallas is going to run. I don't want to say small because they have Cooper Flag and PJ Washington still, but like with Lively and Gafford out, like Houston has the ability to get away with that a little bit more as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So good question to start with. If you guys have any more questions, get that in. And I mean, did you comment this, Vinny? I love Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson loves me. I'm pretty sure is that your burner account right there?
Yeah, you got me.
All right, but what are your? I guess we didn't even mention it. What are your initial thoughts here for this slate?
Yeah, it's a pretty good slate overall. Kind of, we might have some starting lineup switch ups for the Kings, and then we're waiting on some Miami news, and then we kind of just went over Houston and Dallas,
Hmm.
but and Golden State's resting everybody, so it's a pretty interesting slate. I think there's some okay value plays, and there's also some shaky chalk, but we'll go
Yeah,
over that.
yeah. So yeah, we'll start off here with Atlanta and with Jalen Johnson. They are pretty banged up here. Porzingis is out. Trae Young is out. I guess the rest of the team is good to go. We are seeing a lot of people get to Jalen Johnson. Is this just lather, rinse, repeat with him here? Projected to get 36 minutes in a good matchup against Washington. In a pretty high game total, 239. A little bit of a blowout risk though at 9 points.
Yeah, I'm trying to be around the field or possibly a little bit below the field. I know last time I did it, it burned me, but it's their fifth game in 7 nights.
Yeah.
But they are going against the Wizards, and he did have a night off where he got injured or whatever you want to call it. So there is some risk there. I wouldn't say he's like an ultimate jam play. There is some other spin ups on this slate that look pretty good. So if you need somewhere to get different, the high end's fine. Like I think you could play somebody else, but overall, he still looks like a good play.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Any of their other bigs popping for you at all? Like I don't know, Anika Ganku. He feels like a little bit overpriced to me, but I think he still holds the upside for 40 plus points against Washington. Is he just too priced up?
I have a few percent. I think he's still in play just because they're going against Washington, but I can't say I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Data wise, Walker's kind of the next best or Anika, so it's not terrible. Daniels getting some chalk on FanDuel. Any of these plays like really make it for you?
Not really. I think they're all just kind of fine if I get there, but I don't really care. Like it's not someone I'm going to stake my night on.
Yeah. No. So yeah, we'll jump on into Washington here then instead. So with Washington, they also are pretty banged up. Koulibaly's out, Kispert out, Chris Middleton is out. That was news we were kind of, I don't want to say hoping to get, but expecting to get. And then Alex Sarr is still out as well. So with that, we kind of got to figure out, will it be Tristan or Bagley as the big that we want to get to, or do we even want to get to either of them? They're popping value-wise. You got Justin Champagne as someone that's a decent play as well. Data really likes him. To me, Washington's in a weird spot because they're all logically great plays, but I also understand why no one's like getting to them too much. So especially in a 9.5, 9 point spread.
Yeah, it's pretty tough because their rotations are just you can't really judge them. Like it's just craziness, really. But I think Will Riley probably starts, assuming he does. I do like him on DraftKings where he's only 3,400. I think his minutes are pretty decent, and he can shoot all right. So I don't mind Will Riley. Champagne, he's fine. I have like 20% on DraftKings right now.
Okay.
But I think he looks okay. The two I do want to get to is CJ McCollum and Kaishawn George. I feel like one of them has a big game. You never know which one it is, so that's kind of the problem. I feel better about CJ just because he has the ball more in his hands, but Kaishawn's fine too. So I like both of them quite a bit.
Yeah, George has been frustrating, honestly, because he has, that few game stretch in there where he had 40 plus DFS points. I think like that's in itself like enough to just, I don't want to say always be overweight on him, but like 17% on, be like 20% on. I think like it's worthwhile to chase that ceiling. Obviously, we can't trust it. A lot of those builds can end up just being terrible builds, but also could be someone that wins you a GPP if he goes for 40 plus. So I don't mind that, but I am with you. It is a headache there with Washington in general. I do think we got a couple of questions here. So yeah, so Sangoon, he's most like we're assuming he's going to sit. So yeah, Aaron mentioned he's doubtful there as well. And then we have a question here: thoughts on stacking Heat and Kings? Yeah, actually, I think that's a good idea for tonight's slate, just in general. I like some of the plays that we're getting for the Heat and Kings. Also, not terrible. What about you for initial kind of thoughts there for the Heat and Kings?
Yeah, I like that game. And then you have a Q tag on Davion and Pele Larson, so it's possible it gets even better.
Yeah, so we'll get into that game in just a second, but we'll jump on into Golden State versus Cleveland. So Lonzo Ball out, Jared Allen out, Sam Merrill still out, Max Strus still out as well. So we do have Craig Porter popping up as a very good value play, not the best OF index play. Donovan Mitchell is going to be the best OF index play. And then you also have Evan Mobley, who on DraftKings, I would say, is someone in play. FanDuel, pretty tough to get to, although he's power forward center eligible. Jalen Tyson is probably priced up too much now. And then DeAndre Hunter, I don't know. The rest of them to me are kind of just, I don't mind them. Like Garland, if I close out a build with him, I'm guess I'm okay with it, but not necessarily going out of my way to target it. How do you see the Cavs tonight?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Garland is the most fresh, I guess you could say, out of them. So
Yeah.
I don't mind mixing him in. It's just a matter of how many minutes he could play. So that part's kind of up in the air. Right now, I'm getting to the most of Mobley and Mitchell. I don't love them on this slate, but I think they're fine. Fine to mix in, going against a depleted Warriors defense. So I don't mind either of them. And then that's pretty much it. Tyson, I think, is playable. And then same with Craig Porter Jr. I think he's playable, but we have a better value.
Yeah, with Garland active tonight, it's tough to get to those two. And it's a lower scoring game as well with
Yeah.
a pretty 9.5 points. I mean, that's start to worry about the minutes there. So we'll jump into the Golden State Warriors. You mentioned they're pretty depleted, and yes, they are. So Jimmy Butler out. Both the Currys are out. Draymond Green is out. Al Horford is out. Melton and well, that's pretty it for who we've seen play. Theoretically, this should be well, I'll let you start. And I'll give my thoughts because we might have differing thoughts.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. I think they have 11 guys. You know how Kerr is. He's going to play all 11, and it might not be a lot of minutes on certain guys. So it's kind of not great, but they do have some value plays. Right now on DraftKings, I'm getting to the most of Buddy Hield. I think he's fine. On FanDuel, Kaminga's just underpriced, assuming he starts. I wouldn't expect him to get like upwards of 30 minutes, but we have him at We have him at 25 minutes, and he looks okay. So
What
uh,
what are you doing with him for FanDuel as well? Just sorry to cut you off there because price.
for Kaminga,
Yeah.
I'll probably be around the field. He's kind of one of them players, and it's Kerr where I don't want to stake my 9 on it, but I
Mhm.
want to have some exposure because there is upside, and there's a chance if it's competitive, they let him run. So I do think he's fine. Pat Spencer on DraftKings, I think's an okay value play as well.
Mhm.
Not going to see a ton of minutes, but I do think he'll see enough minutes at 3,900.
Yeah.
Moody's the one I'd like to play. He's been okay lately. Not playing Richard. I have a few percent, but I remember that last time I jammed Richard and he just killed my whole night.
That's okay. That was the differentiation point because I probably like him the most. It is slightly due to it's a guessing game. It's slightly due to his pricing and hoping that you nailed it. Like the minutes are a guessing game, and heck, these minutes are probably right, and that would suck if they are. Like if we get a couple of these players getting 30 plus minutes, that's great. I like him at his price. I think it's worth the risk, but yeah, I hear you. It's not the best, not the safest.
Yeah, it is a smaller slate, I guess, or kind of a mid slate, so I don't
Yeah.
mind it. He's cheap enough to where, like we've seen, he has a ceiling. He's put up 40, so at his price, I don't mind it.
And I will agree, like Moody probably like the safest in regards to like production, not necessarily like hitting 6x, 5x really, but like I think we were going to get something out of him, right? Like he's not going to be a complete bust, most likely. I do want your thoughts on Quinton Post as well, because he is someone at the start of the season, and I was following the preseason a little bit. I was like, oh, this guy could be something for them. Is it just too low of a minutes projection for him at 24? Is there a chance he could potentially get more than that, or is it just because they are going against Cleveland, but Cleveland is without Allen, so don't necessarily need to get another big out there? Is it just be with the field and that's about it?
Yeah, kind of. I'm around the field right now, and then Trace Jackson Davis, I'm actually getting to as well. And he
Yeah.
has power forward eligibility on FanDuel, so I don't mind that. I think either one of them are playable. I don't think either of them compare to Capella. Like we know Houston's going to play their big, so they're fine
Mhm.
though.
Yeah. We got Absolute Power saying he's all in on Pat Spencer. Uh, my social media feed has been a lot of Pat Spencer the last couple of nights. So I'm actually a little bit surprised at the ownerships just in general and Pat Spencer as well. Just I thought we'd begin a little bit more chalkier, specifically for DraftKings.
Yep.
All right, so we'll go ahead here and jump on into the next game, Milwaukee versus Detroit. We'll start with my Bucks here. So AJ Green questionable, and I actually think that this could end up being a pretty significant piece of news here. So if he ends up sitting, I do think that'll give a little bit more run to Gary Trent, Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, and with those three specifically, it just becomes which one of the three are making shots. Maybe all of them, maybe none of them. But if he does end up sitting, I think that helps them all. But also that hurts the Bucks in general because Giannis is still out. It's a 13-point spread. They were able to beat Detroit a couple of nights ago with AJ Green going off, and so maybe Green would be in play on FanDuel a little bit if he continues to get hot after a cold night shooting. But we are seeing that Kevin Porter Jr. is chalk. Is that a kind of lineup starting point tonight?
Yeah, I can't say that I feel like great about it. Kind of similar to Johnson, coming off an injury, like a pretty severe injury. He was kind of just thrown back into things. Now he's on the
Mm-hmm.
back end of a back to back, so it's kind of sketchy. But I'm still getting a lot. It's pretty tough to avoid him. Like there's not a
No,
ton of pivots.
you mentioned the back end of a back to back, and that was very much my concern with him in general for this slate. It's like he left the game. Was it a couple of nights ago? I forget which one it was with back spasms as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, against Washington, that's arguably why they lost against them. So I think that's a very good point. Like I think he should be chalk, but it's not like a foolproof chalk play. Like it makes sense why he could maybe be limited even minutes wise.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely scenarios he could fail. Yesterday, he kind of looked like he was going to fail, and then he turned it on in the second half, thankfully. But
Yeah.
yeah, I still have a lot of him right now. I don't know what I'm going to do exactly. Maybe depends what else opens up as well.
Mm-hmm. And then I do want to talk about Jericho Sims. I'm surprised people aren't on him. He's played 30 plus minute or 30 minutes the last couple of nights, double against Detroit last time out. I think it makes sense for him to get some run here again. And we haven't projected for 27 minutes. I know he's not like a points producer. I'm just surprised 1% for him. Is that just he's center eligible and people are looking elsewhere?
Yeah, I think that's part of it, center eligibility. But Detroit is a big team, so we probably do see pretty good minutes again. So I think he's definitely somebody you can mix in.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the 1%. I'm not saying he's like a must play. And I know like even last game, 14 DFS points, we only made 2 buckets, or he only made a bucket, 2 points. I mean, that's terrible. You would think he'd be able to get a little bit more than that, and then he's at 5x. So it's a little interesting spot.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and get into Detroit and then answer a couple more questions here, guys. So for Detroit, ownership pretty much spread out. Do you see anyone here as a must play for them?
Don't see any must plays. I do think Cade's a good play. And you could also, if you're not playing Jalen Johnson, like this is somewhere you could use your salary as well to be a little bit different. So I
Yeah.
do think Cade looks like a pretty good tournament play. Duran looks good as well. Milwaukee struggled against bigs pretty much all year. So I do think he looks good. And then you have the Tobias Q tag, which could make things interesting. If he plays, I don't mind him. And then Asar he's in play.
Yeah. So if he is out, does that elevate Isaiah Stewart to you all if Harris is out?
Yeah, it does. His price on FanDuel is kind of tough, but on
Mhm.
DraftKings, I don't mind it with power forward eligibility.
Yeah, I tend to think when it's like a 13, 12 point spread or whatever that we have tonight, 13, um, like I tend to believe that players that are questionable are just more likely to sit in those type of games. So I think it's worthwhile to mention.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And he's kind of coming off a layoff where he was injured. So it's probably a strong possibility he's out.
All right, so we'll jump back into a couple of questions. We have one asking HB Cards, can you avoid Golden State in 3 max contests?
Yeah, I think you can. I don't see them as must plays.
All right, and then Thomas Bryant, question mark. I don't recall him popping that much. Let's see.
No.
Yeah. Only 12.5 projected minutes for him right now. Then someone mentioned that Post could start over Kuminga, which could happen, but minutes wise that's the name of the game with Golden State.
Yep.
All right, so we'll jump into the Kings versus Miami. So you mentioned that this was a game, and someone else I think mentioned that it was a game that we could be targeting. We'll start with the Kings because it's a little bit easier to break down. Schroeder and also Sabonis are out, so we know that. What we don't know is which guard we can like trust. Okay, we got Levine, Westbrook, Monk, all somewhat appealing here. Monk is getting some chalk here at 20% owned on DraftKings. Then we're getting a lot of FanDuel chalk as well because the prices are somewhat cheaper. Let's get your thoughts here on the Kings. How many are you getting to, or do you see anyone as like a must play or just all decent plays?
I kind of see them as all decent plays. I wouldn't say there's a must play, but I do like Monk the most on DraftKings. FanDuel probably lean Russ on there, but I do
Yeah.
like Monk quite a bit on DraftKings, and I'm still getting over the field on Russ on DraftKings as well. Keegan, I think, is also a pretty good play on both
Yeah.
sides. Just keeps doing it, and then top DK value, Maxime Raynon. I don't mind getting there as well. I'm going to go in over the field, and yeah, I think he looks pretty solid.
He is probably one of the more interesting plays on the slate, I think, in general, because we see the game log. Last 3 games has been pretty darn productive. Obviously, the last game, 41 points. We obviously like that there. That game was a bit of a blowout, so he did get a little bit more run. But maybe he like proved that he should be getting a little bit more minutes, and we haven't projected for 22. That could be enough for value. Maybe he ends up getting a little bit more minutes. It is a 9.5 point spread, so like I think if you're playing him, you are kind of hoping for that blowout run where he gets closer to 27. He's very interesting to me tonight, especially at 1%. Like him and Jericho Sims, I'll just like it's a little bit surprising to me. Like at 5%, sure, whatever. I wouldn't be talking about 1%. Just means people aren't really getting to them. That's all just generated lineups are just getting to a little bit of him to make stuff work, you know?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good cheap, I guess, tournament center plays tonight. So I like quite a bit of them, and I like mixing him in. Pretty much this whole Kings team. Pretty soon they should start playing a lot more of their young guys. So we'll see. Like Clifford, I've been waiting on him to get more run. Kind of started out the season like he
Mm-hmm.
was, and then he's kind of fell off after his injury.
Yeah. No, I agree there. We'll jump into the Heat here as well. So the Heat are in a pretty interesting spot, I will say. So Davion Mitchell, questionable. Let's see. We do have him projected 4 minutes here. Larson, also questionable. We do have him projected for 23 minutes, but then we also know that Hero is out. Norman Powell probable. And I will say Powell's one of my favorite plays on the slate, but I think this is an interesting slate where I think I'm not saying a rule for it, but I want to get to like 2 out of the 3 between Powell, Wiggins, and Jaquez. Again, I'm not saying a rule, but I think 2 out of those 3 are going to have a really good night. It's just trying to get those 2 out of 3 correct.
Yeah, it makes it difficult. This is one of the better. I mean, they have the highest team total on the slate, so it's a really good spot. Getting to a lot of Norm, and then Bam, I think looks pretty good. Pretty interested in Khalil Ware. I like Ware quite a bit, especially at his ownership on DraftKings. I think he's another one of those center plays that you could definitely get overweight on.
Yeah, any more thoughts? Is that like just maybe blowout helps him, or is that just not matter to you at all? Is it just a good matchup? Is it because Hero's out and we have seen him play, a decent amount of minutes in games, and in games without Hero, he's done well?
Yeah, kind of a lot of those things. And then the possibility of him starting again. If he starts, feel pretty good about it. And then if you're missing Davion or Pele, it just kind of helps his minutes overall. So not a matchup where they have to go big, but could definitely see it. Spo kind of just plays his dudes.
And then, okay, that makes sense. If we do get news that, let's say, both Mitchell and Pele are out, does that mean Fontecchio's in play at all, or Drew Smith are in play at all? Because they are pretty darn cheap and like somewhat appealing for lineup construction.
Yeah, I think it helps both of them. I like Drew Smith more. I feel like it kind of benefits him more if he's out there kind of running the offense whenever Jaquez isn't out there. So I do like him more. If just Davion misses, then Pele would be that guy. I know his price is a little higher, but still don't mind him. And then Drew would also benefit. So even if just one misses, I do think Drew looks pretty good. Yeah. Fontecchio's firmly in play as well in tournaments. And then Jaquez is just going to look a little bit better too off the bench.
Yeah. I like Jaquez more than the field. Probably, honestly, double, which might be a little bit too high. I like the multiple position eligibility on both sides, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to see. He wouldn't play blowout. I was kind of looking who would be out there.
I mean, if the two players are out, he might have to play a little bit, but might extend his rotation a little bit, and then backups really get in at the end. But yeah, I hear you. We'll jump into the Clippers versus Minnesota. We'll start with Minnesota because, well, they're easy. Everyone's good to go. And so with that, we're not necessarily getting any must plays, but I would say they're all somewhat in play in this matchup where they are pretty heavy favorites. Not the best game total, pretty low game total actually, but we know they're all getting about 30 plus minutes or so, at least the starters. So anyone appealing to you here for the Timberwolves?
I like them all. I'm not getting to a ton of any, but I do like the 3 with kind of like good prices. Dante, Naz Reid, and Jaden McDaniels kind of catch my eye. I feel like one of them probably has a good game. I can't really tell you who. I like Naz. He's been playing pretty good. So I do like Naz Reid. And then Dante's going to shoot a ton of threes. If he makes them, he could pay off his price pretty quickly. So pretty interested there. And then at the high end, Ant, he's priced pretty high, but also another dude that you can compare to like a Jalen Johnson. Like instead of playing him, you could get to Anthony Edwards for a lot lower ownership, and maybe that makes a difference.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think that's a good call. And then the other side of this game, we got the Clippers here. I don't have much to add with Minnesota. I think you nailed it. So yeah, for the Clippers here, a little bit interesting no one's really out for them. Bogdanovich is active here. But we got James Harden 35 minutes, Zubac 34 minutes, going against Minnesota, running out a decent amount of bigs. Kawhi, he can go off for 40 on any night. John Collins not really doing much. Chris Dunn, somewhat appealing at his price tag, I think, value-wise. The data somewhat likes him. James Harden is the best of index play, Zubac, and then Kawhi. Any spots here for you?
No, I'm kind of just mixing them in. I do like James Harden a little bit just because of his minutes ceiling. If this
Yeah.
game's competitive, he could play 37, 38 minutes. So I do like that at his price tag. Kawhi, back end of a back to back is kind of scary, but
Mm,
I said that last time, and I think he put up like 55. So I'm getting to some Kawhi. Collins and Zubac are fine. I don't mind mixing them in.
yeah. Okay, so we'll jump on into the fun game here in just a second, but we do have some questions coming in. So, best FanDuel value, we'll get into that in just a second. I think we already mentioned it as well, though. Jamming all the value, automatic loss, every single slate. We don't. I wouldn't say we even have. I mean, we have a couple of values that we need to jam in, but not even in not great values. I would say like in other sites we'll have. I would say safer values that are just like locks to go off. I don't know if we necessarily have that, so I would agree for that for this slate. Wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers win. That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
And then then someone saying the opposite of that. So that's fine. We'll jump on into the last game here. So Houston versus Dallas. So we already mentioned it a little bit, but we'll touch on it some more here. So yes, Houston without Sengun, Adams, and then all the players that have been out. So we already mentioned that Clint Capella is really popping on both sites. He is, I believe he's the best FanDuel. I know he's the best DraftKings value. And then Jabari Smith, all the Houston players are pretty appealing. Are you setting a rule at all to get to at least one, at least two of Houston players, or is that just something that's already naturally happened, so you don't need to do that?
Yeah, I'm not just because it's naturally going to happen. Um, I was looking, I have a few with three, a couple with four, but mainly I'm getting to like two or three of these guys in most of my lineups.
Gotcha. And so is it, you mentioned you like KD and Capella probably the most, right?
Yeah, KD and Capella, and then also, I don't know, I'm getting to a ton of Houston, but Capella is my favorite by far. KD, I do like quite a bit, and then I have quite a bit of Amin Thompson as well. Jabari's popping in the model pretty hard, so that's someone I want to be overweight on as well.
Yeah, he's projected for 34 minutes as well, Jabari Smith. And I will say if he gets that, he probably should be, I would say he's probably a little bit correctly. I'm probably closer to 30%, but that's very appealing to see him get 30 plus minutes with those two bigs out. So that's tough to pass up on. I was hoping if he was like 5K, do you think he'd be like 50% owned?
Yeah, probably. He'd be probably higher than he is now.
Yeah. All right. So we'll jump on into the other side of this game. And this is also, I think, what makes the Houston players appealing is Dallas is without Derek Lively and Gafford. We also have Klay Thompson out. PJ Washington still currently questionable, which that would hurt the game total, even though it's already pretty darn low. And it also hurt the point spread if PJ Washington sits. AD then would become, I think, a more risky play as well. AD is projected for 30 minutes. Is there anyone here that like is in consideration for you?
Assuming everyone's in, well, I say everyone, assuming PJ's in,
Mhm.
it's mainly just Nemhard for me. But
Yeah.
if PJ's out, then I'll have interest in Najee. I have a little bit of Anthony Davis right now, just kind of another pivot to Jalen Johnson around
Yeah.
the same price. Well, he's actually a little bit cheaper. And this matchup's actually a lot better without Sengun, without Steven Adams out there. It is a back end of a back to back, and we seen him do nothing yesterday, but it's DFS, so I'm going back
Yeah.
to AD. And then Nimhard's kind of interesting on FanDuel. His price is a little bit higher, but still at 1% owned. I think you could take shots there. He seems to have earned the point guard role.
Yeah. Yeah. Another point guard like Brandon Miller, is there any chance for him to see more than the 19.6 minutes? I know it's a 7 point spread. I don't necessarily think that would give him more blowout run, but I mean, he's 3.9. That's why I'm asking. Any potential for him to be a decent play?
Yeah, I actually have a few percent of him as well. I wouldn't play him and Nimhard together, but
Yeah.
one of them likely has a pretty decent game.
All right, so we just got some slight breaking news, apparently. Miami questionable plays are indeed out. So Let's just jump back into that real quick and just kind of recap our thoughts on that, even though we already kind of presented it. AJ Green out as well. Okay. Kind of expected that. So we'll touch on both of those here and then give you guys a dummy build. So it's not going to update just yet, but I think you mentioned Drew Smith would be a decent play for you then, right? And Hawkes would become a much better play. Are you good with that?
Yeah, but was Drew Smith on the injury report? I don't think he was. He's now listed as probable, so I don't know.
Oh, that's strange.
I know. I don't know. Assuming he plays though, yeah, it's Drew Smith. I assume he slides into the starting lineup. We probably see Drew, Wiggins, Ware, Bam, Powell. So Drew looks good, and then we kind of got, and then I guess it's just Hawkes off the bench is going to look like a really good play now, and then Fontecchio's minutes are more secure too. So good positional eligibility on Fontecchio. So I like taking shots there too.
Yeah, I would say once we get into the first whip build, I do really like Hawkes. So I'll be putting him in there just as a FYI. If it doesn't work out, I apologize, everyone.
Yep.
And then Milwaukee. So AJ Green, so him being out, it really doesn't change much of the slate, but it also has the potential to, because that might mean Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, and Gary Trent get a couple of 3 balls more. And if they're making them, that's the difference. Like if they get, obviously anytime anyone can get hot, but it gives them an extended opportunity to get hot shooting the basketball. And I think they're all somewhat appealing as if their ownerships do not go up at all, because they're all, Portis is fine. They're all a little bit too cheap given what they can do. I mean, Gary Trent, I don't want to go back to the playoffs, but Gary Trent throughout the playoffs last year for the Bucks, he had like 2 50-point nights, and it's not the same situation, but if he starts, which he might, he becomes more appealing to me.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty well this season. We haven't really seen the ceiling, but this is his chance. I do like him. And then you mentioned like Portis. I do think he looks better. Ryan Rollins is kind of somebody we didn't talk about. He's more expensive than KPJ, but if KPJ does fail, or I mean, they could both get there, but say KPJ does fail, Rollins is probably the one that's getting there, assuming this game stays close.
Yeah, I will say I'd be fine getting to Rollins as price if it weren't a blowout game and if the game total wasn't this low. Like if it was an 8-point spread and 230, I'd feel much more comfortable getting to him. Although Doc seems pretty stuck on just giving him and KPJ a bunch of runs. So
yeah.
Are we getting to any Vit Krejci at all for Atlanta? That's we didn't mention him. Project for 23 minutes. A small forward, shooting guard eligible. He's not terrible, but not great.
Yeah, I have 2% of him right now, but that probably changes now.
You're massively underweight on the field.
Yeah. What's he owned?
7 and 11%.
Yeah, I'm under.
Which is crazy.
Even more now.
Yeah. With that news, that'd probably get, because like you would rather be on, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like Fontecchio and Drew Smith are probably a little bit more appealing at similar price tags.
Yep. Yeah, and even if they were coin flips, I just always prefer the later game.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. All right. So we'll go ahead and get into a first look build here for you guys for DraftKings, and then we'll be getting out of here. So do we just have to play Clint Capella and then kind of figure it out from there?
Yeah. I think Clint Capella and Drew Smith and probably Hawkes are really good starting points.
Yeah, we'll do that. Does that change at all if Drew Smith doesn't start for some reason? I mean, maybe Hawkes runs point. I doubt it, but maybe something like that happens.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Spo's pretty stuck on him off the bench, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Okay. So got those two in. We'll check. I just updated, so I want to see if anyone else was popping here. Not really. Oath index wise, we do have Jalen Johnson, Cade, Mitchell, Thompson, Mobley. I mean, Johnson's the chalk one.
Yeah, we could plug him in. It's fine.
I think we played him in every single video we've done together where he's on played. So let's continue that. And then from there, so this is where, to me, the slate really does open up a decent amount. Ownership-wise, we'll see Kevin Porter. Is this just a thing where we're in the middle of news? Probably, right? He's not going to be 62% owned, right?
Probably not. He's probably more in like the 50 range.
Yeah. I will say, like, if we're not playing Porter, I honestly don't know what to do because I don't know who I'm saying for the Bucks. I mean, like, who would benefit if he is struggling? It'd be Rollins, but if he's struggling, the whole team struggles, and there's no one. Giannis goes off, or it's weird.
I don't know. We can plug him in.
Yeah, I wish we had a pivot from him. Is really what I was trying to get at there. I mean, Cole Anthony, maybe if he gets 25 minutes in blowout run, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, the only pivot that I do like, but I kind of like them both is CJ McCollum. Not on the same team, but they are pretty similar price.
I agree. I think that's a good pivot. Do you want to sub him in or keep Porter?
We could go for Porter for the purpose of this.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's see here. So Durant, we got to get to some of the Houston plays now. We already have Capella. Do we want to get Durant and Smith? Just Durant?
Yeah. We could go with KD and then see what that gives us.
Yeah. So then we have 6.2 left over for the forward and utility spot, which is, I would say, pretty good for the slate.
Yeah. Yeah, you could go a few different ways. I mean, we could go Jabari.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Let's see.
And then I will say Norman Powell at 6.6, I think is, or you got CJ McCollum there as well. I think those are two pretty darn appealing plays. And Wiggins, if anyone likes him.
Yep.
So I'll give this another quick refresh just to see if anything's updated. Then we'll begin out of here, guys. We're not going to get too much more news now, but it's surprising. We got the news that we needed to during the live stream. That was nice.
I know. That hardly ever happens. If it does, it's like at the very end.
Yeah. Or it's like literally as we're signing out, it's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts here then for this slate at all? It's more straightforward now, at least.
Yeah, I think it makes it a lot better. Now the first game's like fine, but you don't have to get there if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm. And then I did just remember we had a FanDuel value question, so I'll answer that. Capella, Post, and then it is everyone kind of grouped together after Capella. So.
Yep.
All right, guys, that is going to do it for this live stream. We'll catch you guys on tomorrow's Sunday live stream, both for the NBA and NFL live streams. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck.